Josh Green here for SecondsOut. Delighted to be joined by Eddie Hearn here in the aftermath of Jordan Thompson and Jai Opetaia. Stunning win for Jai Opetaia on the night.
Yeah, special fighter. You know, props to Jordan Thompson because he gave it everything. He was hurt in the first round, but came back, dug his heels in, and you know, I talked about special fighters coming to the country before, and I talked about Gennady Golovkin. I talked about Gervonta Davis and Beterbiev. I think Opetaia is one of those guys. I really do. I think he's a special fighter, and the fight reminded me a little bit, in a way, of Brook Golovkin, in that, like, you know, Kell would get overridden and then all of a sudden hold his feet and let his hands go, and you'd be up on you, and then all of a sudden, bang, and it was like, although he tried, he just couldn't overcome the movement, the power. He's really good, Opetaia. I believe he beats everyone comfortably in the division, and that's the plan now.
Do you think there is a case if he was slightly underrated coming to the fight? He's obviously a world champion, but
I think sometimes, you know, fighters in Australia, and you talk about guys, you forget that he's an Olympian, you know, great amateur pedigree as well, but also at the same time, you don't see a lot of him. And then he goes and beats Maris Bradis, so that's good. Yeah, he goes and beats Maris Bradis, and you need to respect him. Bradis is the best in the division, and all of a sudden he's the IBF champ, he's a Ring Magazine champ. He's a very special fighter, but you know, it's only when all of a sudden he comes over here, he starts dominating guys like on the home soil, and you know, etc. And now he'll go on and try and unify the belts.
You've talked about the mandatory against Maris Bradis. Is that likely to be over in Australia, or would we like to take him back?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a fight that we could make in the UK, but at the same time, we'll see. You know, I think he would like to go and unify now, but at the same time, we have got to take care of. I see Maris Bradis over there now. Nisse, you know, he was on me to try and do a head-to-head. I was like, look, calm down. We are fighting, but it probably is going to have to be next because, you know, it was stopped, if you like, for this fight tonight. So, but whatever it takes to get to the belts, you know, we'll make it happen.
You alluded to it there. Are there any other options, really? You've got Chris Billups.
You've got Gulamar in, you know, he's looking for a big fight. You've got Chris Billam-Smith, of course. You've got Badu Jack, see what happens with him. So there's some big fights, but I just think someone like Opetaia should just go for the belts now. You know, try and capture all those belts and get them wrapped up.
Excellent performance from Chev Clark. Where does that leave him?
Yeah, I think, you know, it's hard to sort of forget that Chev's only had 7 fights now after tonight. Like, he's still a baby, really, although he's got great amateur experience and he's not a spring chicken, you know, but at the same time, that's the kind of fight that's going to prepare you perfectly for what's to come. So I would like him to go down the domestic route. You know, I would like to see him win British and European titles, but sometimes people block those and you end up having to go down the world route. So anything's possible for Chev. Good talent, very entertaining, and I thought it was a great win tonight.
Solid performance from Ellie Scottney defending her title as well.
Yeah, I think, you know, you have that sort of standard defence, and then from there, you know, you need to go on and try and unify the division. And I think that's what she needs to do. You know, we've got a great fight coming up on November the 18th between Maylene Rivas and Erica Cruz. I'd like to see her fight the winner of that fight. I think it'd be a thriller over here in America, and you know, it's time now for her to try and roll the dice and win the belts.
We haven't spoke to you since yesterday's announcement of Usyk against Fury. What was your immediate reaction to that?
Well, I knew that they were deep in talks. You know, I didn't expect it to necessarily just come out yesterday, but obviously there's also the mandatory situation. So they need to get it announced to block the mandatory of Filip Hrgović. So we'll see how much that plays in. But I think ultimately it's good for the sport. You know, I think it's great that that fight gets made. Any undisputed fight is great for the sport. It's the fight Fury should be taking. It's the fight he should have taken already. But if it happens, we got there. So you know, I think all in all, good for the sport.
You had the announcement yesterday, but there's no official date set yet. Do you believe it happened 100%?
No, I can't. I think it's impossible to say 100%. It's Tyson Fury. But I do think whenever there's enough money in the fight, I think he'll fight. Like, and that's what's always going to get him to fight, you know. So we'll see. And again, like I said, hopefully it happens.
Big fight being made from Frank Warren with Fury and Usyk. Obviously, it didn't happen yourself for Anthony Joshua. Is that a difficult situation for Matchroom?
Which Joshua?
A big fight being made for undisputed, but not happening for Anthony Joshua. Is that a difficult situation to do?
I think at the end of the day, fighters are going to take the fights that they want to take. Some people are easier to deal with than others, but it all comes down to money. You know, if the amount of money that Saudi are paying for this fight was available 4 years ago, we wouldn't have had a problem, because that's what's pushed these guys into the fight, the money. What it does do is motivate us to make big fights. You know, I said earlier on, it's like we're competitive people. It's good for the ecosystem. It also makes boxers go, oh, you know, I'm sure now Anthony Joshua is going, right, come on, let's make Wilder. They've made that. Let's get this fight done. And I know Wilder's doing it as well because I've already spoke to Shelley Finkel. And it motivates me to make the fight, and it motivates me to make Ben Eubank. So we want to bounce back and make all these fights. So it's good news for fight fans all round.
23rd is the date that's been mentioned. 23rd of December, that is. It's also the date mentioned for Conor Benn against Chris Eubank Jr. Is there a case that someone would have to budge there?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know whether 23rd will happen for them, but it might. And. We'll have to see. We want to make that fight in the UK. I do worry about these big fights deserting the UK, and I understand because of there's a lot of money. But obviously Fury Usyk's outside of the UK. Joshua Wilder could well be outside of the UK if it happens, and Ben Eubank is probably going to be outside of the UK. And it's taking a lot of money from effectively the industry, and hopefully we can make one of those fights in the UK.
If you both wanted to go on the 23rd, would you back yourself and leave it on?
Nah, look, Ben Eubank's massive, Fury Usyk's massive. It doesn't make sense. So hopefully there's a bit of sense all round.
Cheers, Eddie. Thank you.